So here's basically what it is.
We are not experts. We don't feel like experts.
It's a bed made of just 100% rape.
It's a goal. Like, it's fucking... I don't know, like, I want to bite it.
I don't know what a critic's job is for.
Some people just want to take everything from me, is all I'm saying. And I'll never forget chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Chocolate. Holy shit, this is fucking beautiful. This is fucking genius.
Pay me so that I can complain or praise this game.
It's not like, oh, you know... I'm not trying to make excuses for something I like. I don't have any defense of this. It was just beauty.
From there, an addiction was born.
It's a sweet story. It's really funny. It's really cute. And it's, like, age appropriate. Thank you and good night.
Downloadable conflict. Two assholes babbling.
Hello and welcome to Downloadable Conflict, where we're going to talk about MMOs.
Okay.
That's my condition. I have to do that if we're going to do this.
Okay. So I guess this is how we're going to open every show from now on then?
No, I just wanted to say MMOs.
You're welcome, America. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so our topic today is MMOs. If you hear that, that's the sound of a sheet of notes because we don't really know how to approach this topic. Yeah, I know it's slow. You don't have to point. We'll pump it up later. They'll hear me.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I just want you to be careful.
I'm very careful.
Okay.
I'm exceedingly careful.
Okay.
So, wow, now I'm all sidetracked. Yeah, we wanted to talk about MMOs, specifically because I've played a lot of them, and Travis has played none of them.
I've played a lot, too.
No, he hasn't played any. He hasn't even seen any. Obviously, this is a hard topic to tackle when one of the people involved doesn't know anything about it.
I know a lot.
So we decided to bring in our friend, Other Bryan. That's his name.
There's
Bryan.
two Bryans, and that's
the other
hilarious.
Bryan.
Yes. Tall Bryan, we'll call him.
Or TB for
Yes.
short.
Yes,
Which is not Total
tuberculosis.
Biscuit, is Tall Bryan.
Yes.
He's a good Bryan.
So we can blather about this and sound like we sort of know what we're talking about. So I think the place to start is, well, at least the place I thought.
What is an MMO? Because I know what an MMO is, because I played a lot of
Why
Diablo,
don't you tell
too.
us?
Okay.
Okay, well, if there's a lot of people playing together and has servers, that's an MMO. So I
No.
played Diablo 2.
Nope.
And I
No.
play... Yes,
So Mortal
Nope.
Kombat's an MMO.
no.
Why not? It's a lot of players.
No, because only two people can play at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Left 4 Dead, which you also think is an MMO. That's
No.
4 players.
Okay.
Maybe the internet is just an MMO.
It is...
Yes.
The internet is an MMO.
Yes.
My job is an MMO.
It's not rewarding enough.
Yeah, I don't get enough achievements ever.
Yeah, no.
I certainly don't make enough fucking gold.
No. Achievements come from within.
But you know what I did make a lot of gold in? Diablo 2, which was an MMO.
It's not an MMO.
How is it not an MMO?
I'm going to explain what an MMO is because I read it on Wiki before we started. So
Oh, boy.
I'm very informed.
So you brought evidence?
I brought
We're gonna-
evidence
yeah.
from the internet.
Oh god, the only thing that usually destroys me, evidence.
Yeah. So an MMO is a massively multiplayer online game. That's what MMO stands for. Basically what defines it is you have one persistent world that a lot of players exist in simultaneously. So it's not 4 players, it's not 8 players, it's like 1,000 players, 1,000,000 players. Well, not 1,000,000 players, the servers would explode. But a couple thousand players.
Fine.
All in this gigantic world together doing some shit. That's
Well-
the general idea of an MMO.
And that doesn't happen in Diablo. So
Well, for the record, Diablo 2 will always be a gigantic world online in my heart.
No. No.
It's it's a world where I lived.
Thank you.
It's a
So,
druid.
I guess I'll cover my list of MMOs that I've played first, since it's long, and everyone else's is short. The games that I've played are APB Reloaded, DC Universe Online, EVE Online, Guild Wars, when I was a teenager, Habbo Hotel, yes, that's technically an MMO,
Whatever.
Star Trek Online, Knights of the Old Republic, or Star Wars The Old Republic, rather, and, of course, World of Warcraft, which I still play. Bryan, Tall Bryan, would you like to say which MMOs
The good
you've
Bryan,
played?
the smart Bryan, the handsome Bryan.
So my list is way shorter. It's just Guild Wars. And right now I'm playing Guild Wars 2 beta, so I can maybe comment on
Shed a
that.
little light
But
on
he
that.
he also plays a lot of
Team
Diablo and Team
That's-
Fortress.
That's
Yeah.
not...
Those are MMOs to
Travis,
me.
why don't you tell the fan, what MMOs you've played?
I played a lot of Diablo 2 when it was
Okay.
cool. I also played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Okay.
Roller Coaster Tycoon was really great.
Okay, so basically you've played as many MMOs as we have fans.
No, there was another MMO I played a lot of,
Really?
and
Just get to the punchline.
it was Neopets.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Your contribution is now officially over.
I don't know why I'm here.
You can just leave the room.
Yeah.
That's what I
Please
figured.
get out of my house now.
That's what I figured. I'm not cool enough for WoW. It's true.
I also made a list of games that I skipped on purpose because that's important, I guess. I have Age of Conan. I have Aeon Online, also known as the pretty Korean Everyone Has Angel Wings game.
Yeah, that looked cool.
No, it didn't. I hated it.
Looked really cool.
No interest. I have Evany, which is the we're going to put softcore porn on the internet to entice you to play. That's how Matt got playing.
I never heard of that game.
Just
What was the Sega
just
one?
browse a video game website and look for pop-up ads.
Yeah,
And
with some titties on
half
the side.
of them, if there's tits in it, it's probably an ad for Evany.
Is this like a free MMO?
It's a free yes.
Yeah.
I watched Matt play it for 2 seconds before I went, oh yeah, that's why I didn't click that link.
EverQuest was the big one for a lot of years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before my time though, so I never
Was
really
Phantasy
got
Star
into
the
it.
Sega one? It was like on Dreamcast and PC, sort
Yeah.
of. Phantasy Star?
Yeah, Phantasy Star, and I think it still exists. I never
Yeah.
played that one either.
I believe Ultima would have been predating EverQuest, though.
Yeah,
Ultima
also
Online.
before my time,
So
certainly.
definitely can't comment on those.
The
'cause
Wild West of MMOs, I think Ultima is. I have Second Life on my list, and if I have to explain why I avoided Second Life like the plague, then me and you probably won't get along.
Well, why don't you just explain it briefly? 'Cause
Second Life is exactly what it sounds like. It's for people who are not satisfied with their first life, so
They
they
have
went,
just discovered what computers do.
they went on the internet to have a second one.
Yeah.
It really is just
and it's
fodder
almost
for comedy.
like it welcomes a lot of open coding, so people like are constantly modding their own. Second
Oh yeah,
Life.
you'll be walking
That's
through
kind
Second
of
Life.
the twist
Yeah.
with Second Life, like why it's different.
it
You know
kind
what I
of
mean?
sounds like Minecraft. Am I wrong?
No.
Minecraft is very closed. The
No.
idea is you build with their blocks.
Because in Minecraft, you won't be walking along and see a cat person and then turn to your left and there's a mech walking around.
dildos and shit.
Yeah, and then flying,
Castles.
coming dildos. Yeah, it's really like...
Sounds like my kind of game, actually.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
My understanding of Second Life is like what drew people to it was just like the infinite customization. Like you could drop a lot of money in it. People could like open up their own stores and be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I sell jeans, and like, you know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah,
you can't
my-
really get jeans, but someone is designing like the pattern for
Yeah.
the jeans or like different animations. Like
Yeah.
people like who are really into like the whole sex part of Second Life. But, like I'm purchasing the deep thrust. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like you could select different
It's
animations.
an important purchase.
Yeah,
the
it's
deep
like-
thrust.
It sounds like a social experiment more than a game.
It is.
It kind of is, and I had a friend who was very into Second Life named Eric, and he had the exact kind of shop that you were talking about, where he would like take commissions. Like it seems like a place where if it weren't full of so many creeps, it could be a cool idea, because like I can imagine a lot of out of work artists like putzing around on there or just doing that in their free time. Because he basically took all of this time to like make this really detailed, I think
ears.
it's called like a Mad Cat mech from Mech Warrior. I can't remember what they're called. It's a cool one though, and it looked really cool. And he modeled how it moved so that it moved realistically. It wasn't just some block that just moved around without moving. It wasn't a flying mech.
Yeah.
And that part alone was cool, but holy shit, if you've ever spent more than 5 seconds even looking at Second Life, you're like, nah, no.
Yeah.
Big no. The only time I've ever seen Second Life be entertaining was on an episode of CSI, where
Oh,
they
no.
were chasing an avatar around, and they're like, follow that buttercup.
Get him.
Like, that's how the internet works. You have to chase its
Yeah.
avatar rather than just tracking the IP.
Yeah, which I argued was actually kind of realistic, because I feel like someone who plays Second Life so much would probably make their avatar run before logging off, instinctually.
It's realistic because, yes, the idiot on the other side would be
He'd be like,
running
"Shit."
away instead of just logging off, and the cops would be dumb enough to chase the avatar. I really believe
Yeah.
that's the case.
Yeah, so I think that's real life.
I also have Warhammer Online as a game that I intentionally skipped. Warhammer is one of those franchises where everyone who's ever tried to sell me on it, A, had a neck beard, and B, was selling it way too hard for me to buy it. You know?
I haven't had any exposure to Warhammer except for my friend John, and he just showed me his cool-ass figurines. I'm like, wow, this is fucking cool. And he's like, but then he told me how much it costs and how
Yeah.
much time it does. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm never gonna
And
do
you got to
that.
keep them all like in a foam box to keep them from breaking.
But I appreciate it. I
Exactly.
thought that, the design for Warhammer is pretty
Oh yeah,
cool,
yeah. Like
you know?
in that whole hobbyist sense, like there's something to appreciate.
I mean,
but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, nowadays a lot of MMOs kind of do the same fantasy stuff, and I think
Yeah.
Warhammer's been one
It's
of those
the
things.
tabletop of all that.
Well, I think Warhammer has a unique universe that no one's really ever.
It does, but it's so goofy looking. I mean, the Marines are 25 feet tall, and their armor weighs 60,000 pounds, and there's just this
Are
little...
they really that tall?
This little
No.
bald, angry... But they're stylized to look
Yeah.
that way. And there's like this little bald, angry head in 5 tons of armor.
Yeah.
And their guns are absurd. Like, anytime I've seen any games that depict the Warhammer universe, like one came out recently where you play as, I guess, a Marine that goes around and cuts people up. Everything looks stupid, and it doesn't look fun.
StarCraft's the same way.
Yeah, but StarCraft is small enough that I don't, like, zoom in on the Marines and go, this guy looks like an idiot.
But have you seen like on the other figures from Warhammer? Like I used to like see the magazines every month because some people like leave them
Yeah.
around. And I mean, like other than the Marines, like if you don't enjoy the aesthetic of the Marines, which they are just giant like saw blade holding, tank men.
Yeah.
Like the other creatures are fucking like I can't even believe like.
Okay. I'm certainly not judging, like, I know...
Like the company that makes the Warhammer
figure.
figures, they make like a lot of other different species and like armies, and like
Well,
there's like a
that
really
was-
cool rat army. It's like a really cool
Yeah.
like Zerg looking
I
alien
don't want to
army.
be a
There's a really
fucking
cool
rat army. It just doesn't appeal to me.
like there's zombies they've done, just like incredibly imaginative.
I just remember
looking.
seeing this really cool mad scientist figurine that John had. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
wow, that
Yeah.
thing that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But the buy-in to have that coolness
Yeah,
is
exactly. I mean,
$1,200.
I would never. I mean, I got enough, expensive hobbies.
Yeah,
so.
no kidding. Magic. I'm looking at one of them. I wanted to briefly, because when I made this list of MMOs that I've played, I looked at a list online because I forgot that I played half of these, and I felt like it was important to touch upon why I forgot I even played them. Because we go on this podcast about the importance or art of games, and one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this subject personally is it feels like MMOs are a perfect example of what I don't want games to become. So let me just go down the list real quick. APB Reloaded is basically a Grand Theft Auto MMO. So it's a cops versus robbers thing. You either choose to be a police officer or you choose to be a criminal. Makes no difference because you act exactly the same. Just the quest givers are different. And you basically drive around town and shoot at each other. And it has absolutely no depth whatsoever. That's I
Is
played
it like an RPG in any respect? Or are you just buying weapons like a
you
like a
do
first-person shooter?
you do like level up rep, stuff like that, and you do unlock like new, like when you level up you can buy new gear, and the gear doesn't do anything for you. It's more just a look thing. It's an
Okay, so it's just
aesthetically
aesthetics.
pleasing thing. Yeah. And I played it for 2 days before I went. This is a huge waste
Was
of
it
my
a
time.
subscription-based game?
No,
Oh,
basically-
you told me before it was.
Yeah, it's a freemium game, and I wanted to touch on freemium as a concept and why I hate it, just real quick.
Sure.
I don't have a whole lot of exposure to it. This was really my only exposure to it, besides Habbo Hotel, which I touched upon earlier. Freemium games are, the whole idea is, here, we'll give you a game that you can't really do anything in, and then if you want to have enjoyment, you get to buy your enjoyment by parcel.
Yeah.
So what that meant in APB is like, okay, it's a massive shooting game where everyone gets dropped into the world and you get into gunfights. And oh, by the way, if you haven't paid us, your gun doesn't do shit. So like I would get the drop on people and I'd shoot them in the back like 40 times and they wouldn't die.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is not fun. But oh, if I want to have fun, I can buy a license. Basically, how it works in APB is you buy a 11 or 12 hour license to have a better gun. You don't get to keep the gun. You just get to borrow the gun for 11 hours of in-game time. A gun that actually works, which is something that should be in the game to make it a game in the fucking first place.
And that's a big mistake in my opinion, because you don't have any sense of ownership when you're actually like renting a gun. That sounds really lame. So
it is really lame, and you feel like it just cheapens the entire experience. You know, you don't feel like, oh, I'm in this game, oh, I have a character. You feel like you're a consumer the entire time. And like there's the added stress of, am I going to get everything out of this gun for the 11 hours that I have it? Like, what if I'm playing and I don't see a lot of people to shoot? Then was it worth my money? That's not something you should think about when you're playing a fucking game. You should be in game land, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't even seem like a game you should even think about.
You should be, if you're playing the cops versus robbers thing, you should be fully immersed in the, I'm a fucking cop, I'm going to clean up the streets, or let's start some shit.
I guess they figured your desire to kill would be so great, you'd be constantly renting guns, so you would be the best cop or robber, you know?
Yeah,
I can see them imagining why that would work.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So that's the first game on my list that I played for 2 fucking seconds. Most of the games on this list, by the way, I played for 2 fucking seconds.
That's great.
The next one, DC Universe Online. I hated this game.
Which is unfortunate, because I think it's a cool concept.
Yeah.
It's a great concept, and that's why I initially
it got a lot of
into
press.
it. Yeah, and I got sucked into that press. I was like, wow, I could be a superhero in a world of superheroes doing superhero shit. But then when you play it, your character has no real personality at all. The 2 worlds that you can go to, Gotham and Metropolis, have no personality. One is just nighttime Gotham is just nighttime Metropolis.
It never turns to day.
It never turns to day. All the quests are just grinding.
Yeah.
So it's just kill 10 bad guys in this parking structure. I shit you not, that's one of the quests. You go to a parking structure and fight bad guys in it who are just standing in a parking structure for some reason. And
Get 'em.
it's just not very hero-y, you know?
Yeah.
So that game, so much potential, no fucking payoff. Eve. I just want to talk about how Eve is an impossible to love game.
I mean, I heard a lot about it from Something Awful Goons and stuff
Before
like
I
that.
sound off on what my experience was, I want you guys to give your impression of it from what you've heard.
Well, I mean, you've heard me say this before. I love to read about Eve.
Yeah.
But I probably will never play Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's you know, it's one of those MMOs that really just took it really far. I mean, like, this is almost like a calculator / economy game. Like,
Yeah, it's hard not
It's
to
like real
admire
life.
that.
It's
It's
real
like
life.
being in a country with no laws.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is like that.
yeah. And so there's, you know, if you're a noob and you have no direction, you're not gonna make it. You're just not gonna.
No.
And just so you need to have some kind of structure. You need to be like in a group or a guild, or you need to. Someone needs to guide you in some way, but otherwise you're just gonna get crushed.
Right.
Or you're just gonna be spinning your wheels because there's just people spend so
Yeah.
much time in that game.
Which is kind of like how you'd imagine being dropped off in a war zone anyways, which is
Sure.
something to admire.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, and that's why I love reading about it.
Exactly.
It's almost like I'm reading about the world.
It has the
except
greatest
it's
stories.
a video game.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
really has the
what
greatest
what
stories.
attracted me to it, and I was reading like really great posts from the Something Awful like guild, which is like a really strong presence in Eve.
Yeah, the
Goon
Goon
Squad.
Squad.
Yeah, their
Goon
fleet
Squad.
their fleet like owns a lot of
Good
like,
fleet.
Yeah, it's a good fleet, but like
Goon something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think Goon Fleet is it. But
Okay.
anyways, like it was really cool to see how they were enacting strategies over like great lengths of time.
Right.
You know, it was like really just like war games.
Yeah,
for
I
real.
told you guys yesterday about the guy who made his own bank and then defrauded it.
Yeah.
And then used all the money that he stole from everyone to put a giant hit on himself.
Yeah, I never understood why he did that. What was?
Because fuck it.
Yeah.
Because I spent all this money to buy the almost moon-sized ship that's impossible to destroy, and now I challenge you to, you know, right the wrong that I've committed.
That's funny.
Unfortunately for Eve, and the stories that I heard, this is why I wanted to play it too, is you hear all these hilarious stories of, like, corporate espionage and, you know, grand betrayal and huge star battles, all that shit.
Yeah.
EVE Online is Microsoft Excel, the game. It's an online spreadsheet with spaceships.
What I don't understand is how it works visually.
It doesn't.
Well,
I
it
mean,
has
or
to.
maybe it does, but I never got that far.
Well, I mean, what did you see? I'm being literal.
Here's how it starts off. You started a character generation screen that you spend an hour reading through all of the things that you can pick. There's the level of minutia immediately discourages new players. Like you can pick which house you're a part of, pick which traits you have as a person, all the while having no idea what any of this shit means.
Okay, so yeah.
And multi-paragraph explanations of each thing that is just jargon city.
Okay, so you've picked your stuff, your traits.
So after you finally generate a character, you are thrown into the world in a shitty little cargo freighter in the middle of nowhere, which is how games, tend to open up. You always start humble, right?
Yeah.
And they sort of give you a tutorial to move around the universe, do quests, and then turn them in and dock at space stations, right? But every single part of it, like the UI is overly complicated. There's a bunch of shit in your face just constantly. There's like a little chat box that's just scrolling, so you can't really read anything, and the instructions go there too.
Yeah.
So it's completely unapproachable.
I'm still trying to figure out what the game looks
player.
like. Like, is it like behind, like over the shoulder? Do you actually have like an avatar?
No,
you're running around with?
you see a spaceship in space.
Oh,
right? So it's just a little your little tiny
so you're
cargo ship.
And the thing is too that I don't know a whole lot about Eve, but I know that doing things, whether that's mining or trying to get from point A to point B, takes forever.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of there are mods. Eric is another thing that Eric tried to get me into aside from Second Life was he tried to, his whole was you're gonna love Eve and I'm gonna set you up so that you don't get discouraged. So
yeah.
I showed up and he gave me a new ship and a shitload of everything that I've heard Goonfleet does to make the game great was done for me.
Yeah.
And it still was the second I docked at a space station and tried to figure out how to fucking do anything, to talk to people, to understand what was going on, it was all a horribly jumbled, complicated mess. And this is for a person who played WoW for 5 years before I tried Eve, maybe 4 years. So I'm aware of the MMO genre and how it's paced. I understand when they throw information out at you, you're not going to immediately completely grasp it. It's more okay, I'm just going to roll with this. But Eve really steamrolls you with the legal textbook.
Yeah.
Just immediately. It's why,
So God bless them for figuring it out, those who do.
So God bless the people who can enjoy that game. I'm sure that they are all accountants.
I mean, well, here's the thing. I like reading about it. I read mostly about what Travis was saying, the Goonfleet.
Yeah.
I like reading it because they don't give a shit. Most of the people in that game take it for real seriously.
Yeah, that was the other thing that
and
fucked
the
it up
goons
for me.
don't, and they just troll the fuck out of everyone.
Right.
They just kill their shit that they've spent years building.
Right.
Because they just attract all these new players. They're hey, do this. It'll take you maybe a couple hours. We'll give you some shit, and you'll get to see people rage.
Sure.
And I'm sure everyone loves doing that to some extent. They like to see people cry on the internet.
Yeah, the cost of getting to that point is really high. It was too high for me, personally.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, that's the appeal that maybe I see in a lot of people, why they might join it. If you weren't, the kind of player who just was oh, I'm going to build my space empire.
Sure.
And whatever.
I putzed around for about a week and then went, you know what, you can have my account. And I handed it over to him.
Anyways, moving on.
Guild Wars is the next one on my list. That's the one that you've also played.
Yeah.
My experience with this was that it was this was the first game, and not the last one, where it felt like it was trying to ape what WoW does, and unsuccessfully.
I would agree with that somewhat.
It felt like, as far as the UI goes and the pacing goes, they were trying to capture the World of Warcraft feel.
Yeah.
However, they failed to do so, and on such a level that as a veteran WoW player, I found it to be confusing.
In what way?
Just getting through, okay, I got through the starting town, but then when I get to the first, proper town that you get to, and they start handing out quests, and, they give you the idea of, you can rearrange your talents at any time for free as long as you're back in town. It felt like it was tripping over its own dick to show how much better it was than WoW. And as a result, my character never felt like it had any real personality. And I played 3 different characters before.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I agree with you on that kind of
Right.
stuff because, you can respec in anything.
Right.
And that appeals to some people because some people are really interested in doing all kinds of builds without going through the bullshit.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of that was why I got into the game, is because from a guy who likes to play Magic and strategy games, I just like to find out different kinds of things. You know, what can you do with this character? And what was cool about Guild Wars, at least for me, was that you did a primary class and then a secondary class. So you got to actually have access to two, like, huge amount of skills that you could shuffle up. And that was actually kind of a detriment to ArenaNet, because it reached a point after they released their third or fourth expansion where they just really couldn't balance anything anymore.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was, and not just poor balancing, but confusing. When give me one class that has one range of things it can do, and let me master that class. When you say, oh, by the way, you can take skills from every other class in the game, I'm going to end up either, you know, like, I'm not the player who goes, ooh, time to tinker. I'm the player who goes, this is too much, I'm confused now. You know? Like,
well, and that's basically the demographic that they were shooting for. I played through the PvE. The PvE was, I didn't really like it too much. I much better with the PvP. And I guess I'm just more of a PvP person in general, so that's probably why I like the game. So that's Guild Wars.
Well, there was also another part that I wanted to touch upon in Guild Wars, which was the economy was completely ridiculous.
Yeah, well, the thing about Guild Wars too, or the thing about just Guild Wars in general, is that the gear, you get your high-level gear easily.
Right.
You don't need to farm for anything, really.
Right.
And you only farm if you want to look cool.
Right.
Quote, cool. And some people don't really give a shit about that, so they just...
Yeah, I feel like if you want to give the option of character customization, you shouldn't make it prohibitively expensive. Like, just to get black dye for a chest piece, which is, it just makes your chest black. It's not amazing. It's a palette swap. But the economy for black dye was like $1 billion gold for one bottle of black dye.
Well, I mean, it's because everyone wanted it. You know, no one wanted to be pink or red.
That's not something that should be, like, free market, let the market decide. That's something that it should be a vendor sells to you for like 2 silver pieces.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't really care what my character looked like. I was just more interested in the mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's Guild Wars. It was definitely, I agree with you in some respect. It was kind of like trying to be like WoW.
Yeah.
Because it came out in 2005 or something.
Something like that.
WoW came out in 2004, so obviously they were probably trying to grab some people from WoW. And
they definitely were, and a lot of MMOs make the horrible, horrible mistake of calling out WoW in their marketing. Actually, a lot of the games on my I skipped intentionally list were skipped for that reason.
Yeah.
When they basically go like a heel wrestler, go, I'm after you, WoW, you're going down. It's like they don't have any confidence in their own product. They have to like immediately force some kind of comparison. Like, if you're really confident in what you're making, you don't go out and tell everyone how much better it is than the leading competitor. Like, you don't even mention the leading competitor. You're like, this is what I'm doing, this is how great it is. And that's fucking it.
I think there's something to be said also that WoW wasn't the first MMO to ever come out, and
It certainly wasn't.
They were certainly not innovative. I mean, they were innovative in some things, but they took a lot of stuff from EverQuest and every MMO before them. So.
Sure. What WoW does well, and what WoW continues to do well, and what a lot of MMOs miss about WoW, is the insane level of polish that is the Blizzard standard.
Yep.
WoW works great. It just, everything is clean, everything is, and Cataclysm actually did a lot to make that even more so.
Yeah.
Everything is easy to understand for an MMO. There's obviously a learning curve, as there will be in every game, but WoW has the nicest learning curve, and they hold your hand the most of any other game. Guild Wars I fucking hated because the combat and the UI felt like a cheap copy of WoW.
Yeah.
It didn't flow as smoothly. It didn't look as good.
Yeah.
It was like... And a lot of MMOs do this, where they're like, we're going to ape WoW without understanding why people like it. And the reason I keep coming back to WoW is they make it so easy for me to stay. They remove as much frustration as you possibly can. Like, this is one of my biggest problems with Tor, the Old Republic.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that because that's a recent game that came out.
It's a very
and I
recent
knew
game,
that
yeah.
you were at least a little excited for it because
I was looking
it's
forward
fucking
to
Star Wars MMO.
Yeah, I was
you know?
looking forward to getting on board.
Yeah,
with
of
that
all
game.
the MMOs that could possibly exist, this was the one that was going to pull Travis in.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
And
it's a story-driven.
And it didn't, right?
Fuck no.
No,
I'm,
well,
I'm laughing at it.
I started tweeting. I started texting horror stories to Travis almost right away.
Yeah, because for the first week it came out, I was like really reading up a lot on it because I knew enough about it through the developing leaks and stuff like that. Because they're trying to talk about the game and how it's going to be, and how much fucking press that game got. So I was reading. I had a pretty good idea of what this game was like. So I wanted to read about 7 days worth of like how people were enjoying the game.
Sure. And
it was like so 50-50. And the thing that bothered me, it was hard to make a call because those who didn't like it, some of them sounded really reasonable, and then some of them sounded insane. And then those who did like it, some of them were like, you know what, I choose to enjoy this aspect that you don't like. And then some of them really just fucking like they love all the Star Wars movies. They just don't get what's wrong with this game.
I got no time for those people.
Yeah, so I couldn't really get a good grasp on it. So I got enough details from it. I saw enough, especially the video. When the video footage started, I could watch how the game looked. I was just like, fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that the best you guys can do?
Yeah, like I just see vast, empty spaces with not that many players on it. They keep going on about the details in the world, and I'm just like, I see a room about 7 football fields long with pillars in it because it's a hallway. I'm like, I am not.
And that's the first thing that
I'm
I
not
started
sci-fi
texting
tickled.
to you is
Yeah.
I hope you like really, really large rectangular rooms that are completely filled with bad guys that you have to kill.
And the animations are goofy, the models are goofy, the colors are goofy, like WoW. But I'm not gonna hate. I mean, what? That's not a diss on WoW. But
no, and it's an advantage.
It's
to
goofy like
stylize.
WoW, and
Yeah.
I think that is fucking awful. It's pandering.
Well, here's the thing about that. When you have to think of it from a technical aspect too. One of the reasons that WoW persists the way it does is because it has this cartoony look. And one of the advantages of having a cartoony look are it doesn't age. Like, WoW is not graphically impressive. It's like it never blows you. Well, it's sometimes, but not really.
Yeah, but that's still gonna age.
However, it's stylized enough to where you can look at it and it doesn't offend your eyes in the same way that EverQuest does. Like, if you look at a screenshot from EverQuest now, your eyes just hurt.
Of course.
Like, oh my god, the
of
Wild
course,
West
but
of gaming.
EverQuest's so old.
But here's the other thing you have to keep in mind. As an MMO, that is a strength because it's a game that a lot of computers can run.
Yeah, but
right?
I disagree because if you look at the old Xbox games, like even the old Knights of the Republic, those games were not graphically intensive at all, and I think they could have just done a notch above.
But they ran on Xbox, which is, it's going to work if you have an Xbox. With a computer, it's a lot more touch and go, whether the game that you buy, your
they still
computer's
don't have
gonna
to be
able run.
goofy looking graphics. That does nothing to do.
No, they don't. I'm not
there's nothing to do
necessarily
with it.
disagreeing.
I'm not trying to
with
tell you that these need to be very advanced, sophisticated looks, but I'm telling you your choice of colors could have been more adult.
Sure.
Your proportions to the human beings and the characters could have been more adult.
They do look like
it could have been
Abercrombie
a little
Fitch
more
models.
intelligent looking. I mean, I saw like how fat you can make a character and he looks stupid. I saw how skinny you can make a character look stupid. Your choice of scars for certain classes are way better than choices of like
that
facial differences for like another. It's just like a really goofy, stupid. They have huge hands. They have huge fat lightsabers. They look like they're about an inch away from becoming toys. And I don't like that. I just wish they had look more realistic.
You bring up a great point with the fat thing because a lot of the quest givers in that game are fat. I'm still playing Tor, by the way, but incredibly casually.
It's just
A lot of the
fucking
quest
stupid.
givers are that fat model, and I cannot take them seriously. Like when they talk, they're just like, they talk with this voice of like I ran into an evil Sith one who's like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr, I am darkness and blah," and I just went, "You look like a chicken wing." Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
You look like a fucking
I
kneecap.
can't take you seriously because I don't feel like you could catch me if I ran away.
No, yeah, and then also, I was really, I was following a lot of the art for the concept modeling, how Jedi's and like how bounty hunter armor looked, and I think the Jedi's are just kind of silly looking with their armor and their robes on top. It's like a little, God, they had so much. They're like an inch away from so many things, right?
If you could see the goofy shit that my smuggler has worn since I've rolled him. He's worn like a goofy Russian hat with like goggles on it and a little radar dish. It's like shit that you immediately go, I wish I didn't have to wear this. You have like this vest that has like a hemorrhoid pillow for like a neck piece. It's just fucking
Head donut.
stupid.
You're
Yeah, it's a neck
badass
donut.
Smuggler.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I'm glad my smuggler has some casual wear that helps with his neck injury.
No, that game is fucking retarded. I was really waiting to like it. I
There
have so many problems with the way that game looks. I hate the way it
parts of
looks.
it that I enjoy. I
can't
say
get
that.
into it. And I've watched good footage with runs through certain characters. Like I saw some really embarrassing. Like if you wanted to be a Dark Jedi, like basically like his plot, like his dialogue, his choices. Like it's like we had a whole conversation like being good or bad in these kinds of games because this even more terrible illusion
rail
of choice.
shit, yeah.
Yeah, and so like your guy is like really evil in a very stupid way. As far as
Yeah.
like if you wanted to be a bad, a Sith Jedi.
Your
or
bad
whatever.
choices a lot of times are just ridiculous. Like, you go out of your way to step on a kitten just to prove you can.
I might have thought this was cool if I was 13.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes, I would completely agree with that.
So maybe you guys are just the wrong demographic. I don't know.
But why? Because it comes from its pedigree is all wrong. Like
I
it should
have
have.
been-
I just
It
think
should
you
have appealed
admit
to
that
our.
Star Wars is not for adults anymore.
As a person who wanted to put Knights of
we-
the Old Republic 1 and 2 on my top 3 list, I should be the demographic.
Yeah, because
for
this is the
game.
same company and the same writers who did
It's the
KOTOR,
same
which is what got
team.
their asses off the ground.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
They fucking-
secretly Lucas was in that.
No, EA
No,
got their
no.
fucking fingers in
Yeah,
it because they
it's-
own
exactly.
They own a lot of these. Anyways,
But there's a lot in that too. I want to touch on shitty, sticky UIs. Tor is reprehensible about it. I've had trouble equipping a weapon in Tor. Where
What do you mean by
like
sticky, like laggy?
I mean sticky, like you try to drag and drop it, and if you don't drop it exactly on the icon, it won't equip it. And if you right click it, it'll equip it to the wrong hand. Like if I'm struggling,
So it's buggy.
yes,
Yeah.
if I'm struggling to put gear on, fix this shit right away.
Yeah.
In WoW, I've never had a problem swapping an item set. Ever. Fucking ever. Putting on gear is easy, as it should be. It's the simplest thing that you could possibly fucking do. And yet in Tor, every time I get a weapon upgrade, it's like, oh fuck, I gotta put the weapon in my own hand. And I have to sit there and focus on it. What the fuck is that?
yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So Tor's bad.
Well, no, please, we're not done with Tor
We're
yet.
not done,
I need to
okay.
beat it up a little bit more.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt about Tor.
I need to beat it up a
We
little
gotta
bit
get
more.
some things out first.
If EVE Online
was really
is
fucking-
spreadsheet the game, then Tor is walking the game. Because I've spent 50 fucking hours walking, and I get it in World of Warcraft for the longest
You
time.
walk around too.
You walk around and you don't get a mount, but there's like mitigating things, like they've got flight paths and they don't make you walk that fucking much or through that many fucking enemies. When you're just hallways, kill 40 guys, collect 10 lock boxes, blow up 5 swoops, it just gets fucking tedious. And I'm level 20 now and I can walk slightly faster. That's the buff.
Oh, nice.
And there are like
Whoa.
Whoa.
apparently there are mounts that you can get later on in the game, but I don't even know how you could use them in the environments that I've been in because they're all indoors. It's like what, I ride a motorcycle inside a really tall house? Like it's fucking stupid. I also want to talk about the combat, which blows.
Yeah.
I rolled the smuggler because if
Is
you
it like KOTOR?
no,
So it's all real time.
it's like WoW but shitty.
Okay.
Get used to the it's like WoW but shitty. That's going to be
So
something
it
I
has,
repeat
it has
a lot.
targeting, and when you target something, you hit a skill, and it happens. And
Yeah,
then-
so I rolled the smuggler for a couple reasons.
Hooray.
I made him because he had the most personality of any other.
I also imagine he would have really great equipment. Like he'd have more interesting equipment progression.
Cool fucking guns.
Yeah,
Cool fucking armor.
I figured he'd be modding them.
Shady. No, not yet.
No, radar dish on your head.
Yeah, radar dish, Russian hat. More of that. The only cool thing that I've ever put on my smuggler is a beard. That's really the only cool thing he has.
I
is
bet
a
he was
ridiculous
dashing.
beard.
Is
Yeah.
he just fucking
Yeah, and then I hit on
Han Solo
every
didn't
girl
even
that
need
I
a beard,
possibly
though.
can. No, but it helps. It's like Riker, the beard.
coulda used the
improved
tickler.
everything. Yeah. No, I rolled the Smuggler because the main class I play in WoW is the Hunter, which is a ranged class. It's a ranged, not caster class, and that's what the Smuggler is. You're shooting guns, just like you are in WoW.
Yeah.
So I figured, they'll probably have very similar playstyles.
I heard he throws
how
potions.
wrong I am. Yes, if you have
Potion
a
thrower.
specialization choice at level, I believe, 15, where you can go either the Healing Smuggler, which is stupid,
Yes.
or
God.
the Gunslinger Smuggler, which should be the only option. I went Gunslinger
Why
because... Yes, because
Yeah.
I read Healing Smuggler and I laughed and went, no.
My brain just thought about it a little more for a
Yeah.
second, and I just thought, what smuggler would ever be invested in being a passive
None.
thing?
In throwing out health packs, what about the
What the
Smuggler
fuck?
class lends itself to healing guy?
Nothing. Yeah, the whole thing about the smuggler is for him to be in combat would be sort of an if anyway.
Right.
So if he's gonna be there, he's gonna be disappearing or
The
hiding
smuggler is
or
supposed
trying
to
to
be
shoot
like-
people before he gets shot.
Exactly.
So
He's like a hybrid of the rogue and the hunter, where he's ranged, but he's jumping you. Like
Yeah.
the smuggler's personality is very much, I never get into a fight that I don't know I can already win.
Exactly,
You know?
because that's what a smuggler would be. He's
Exactly.
he's a bandit. He's a drug dealer.
He's an outlaw. He's
an outlaw.
living by his own rules.
But no, he's probably running around throwing, fucking health packs at
yeah.
stormtroopers.
You throw a magical healing disc at the back of a Jedi. Oh, that's fun. This is
Glad he's
really-
there.
Yeah.
Glad he's there.
Is that because they needed a healing class?
Yes,
Yes.
It's the best they could do.
Yes.
Why
exactly.
wouldn't the Jedi be the healing
Well,
class?
there is a
There
Jedi healing class too.
You usually need a couple.
Here's the thing that Tor does, is it tries to shoehorn its formula into the tank healer DPS
maybe they
formula.
should just...
Does not work for Star Wars for the classes that they're using, in my personal opinion.
Well, and that's something that I might want to talk about for Guild Wars 2 beta.
Okay, we can get there in a second, but
Because they don't do that.
for the longest time playing the Smuggler, every fight, and I feel like in this entire podcast I've portrayed myself as a really bad at video games guy. I'm not. This is why.
okay.
This is why. Yeah. What can I point at? I've beaten all the Call of Duties on Veteran. I've beaten all of the Mass Effects on Insanity, except for the most recent one, and only because I hate the ending, so I haven't been motivated to do it. I love beating games on the hardest setting and going, haha, look, I did that. I'm that kind of gamer. So I find
So
it very
you would-
frustrating when I can't win a very basic battle against a dog. When a smuggler is shooting a dog, he should fucking win. And
Yeah.
yet, I come out of the battle with a quarter of my health left. That's fucking stupid. I finally figured it out. Around level 18, I started to finally hit the groove on the smuggler, where what he was doing made sense, but they give you so many abilities, and there's no natural flow for them. I don't understand how to put them together. So yeah, the combat blows. I fucking hate it.
I always say this, but I really wanted a droid class.
Yeah, you the closest you get to that is cyborgs, which means you get to play a human that
Yeah.
has an eyepiece.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
really think a droid class on his own would have been a chance for creativity, and it would have
Sure.
been pretty cool. I mean, especially they already established HK.
Yeah.
We know there's room for these robots with character
Yeah.
and story and a background. They
Yeah.
they can have those things, and I just really wish that equipping, yourself could actually be your body, and
Yeah.
you could be a droid. I mean, just it would have been great. It would have been great. He could have been a healing class. He could have been a ranged class.
Right.
He could have been a techie class.
Sure. This is a game that needs a lot more of everything, and polish is chief among the list. Of the list you make of things it needs: content, races,
Yeah.
a better designed system instead of the old standby. The tank healer DPS thing works for WoW because WoW is built to honor that formula.
Yeah.
But Star Wars Tor feels like it's trying to shoehorn that in and maybe I'm talking out of my ass because I've never done an operation or a flashpoint, so I don't really see how it plays out. But it just seems like the formula doesn't mix with the classes that you're given. It just feels like they're trying to do something because they don't know what else to do except to ape WoW. They aped a lot of WoW's controls. They aped a lot of WoW's design choices.
And I
for
don't blame
UI
them. There's
goes.
nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah.
I want every WoW, or I want every MMO to rip off WoW because WoW has done it in a very approachable way. There's no dishonor in having a usable system that is similar to someone else's system. I don't care about that. That's dick waving for idiot fanboys. I want a playable game. I want
Yeah.
every game to be playable and
Yeah.
fun.
Because it's all about you can copy something and then maybe try and do it with your iteration better.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you want. Yeah.
I don't buy these games to hate them and wish that I had my money back. That's not a life that I want to live. I actually buy, I got the bug for Tor in a bad way, where, I slept on it and woke up one day and went, Tor could be so awesome. It will be so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it and be part of that. And then, it wasn't.
Yeah. And just to get off my chest officially, I would love it if that game looked better.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm playing a Star Wars Wii game. Like that's what it really looks like to me. It looks like welcome. Here's your Wii controller. Would you like this on the 3DS?
Yeah.
Would you like to see a Jedi with a nice little light? Like I'm watching footage of the beginning, and it's like someone chose a Jedi Twi'lek, and he already has a robe, and he's front flip slashing a giant 9-foot beast,
right.
and I'm sure he's doing that all day long to level up, and
yes.
it's just like front flip whack, and your lightsabers are just basically whacking sticks.
Yeah,
it's
it's a baton with light.
It's a baton with light,
Yeah.
and some Jedis are really buff because they're mean. The Sith are really buff, and they're gonna smash you with their lightsabers.
No, there's fat Sith too. There's fat flipping buff Sith.
I mean, I basically watched, which was basically the Darth Vader class, and he's just just chopping everyone apart. And
yeah, but they don't actually get hacked into pieces, and the damage you do from a stick that is supposed to cut.
There's just nothing serious
80
about the
inches
game.
of
It has no aura. It has no soul. It has no vibe.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of shit with Star Wars written on it, and it makes me sad. So that's my gripe. My gripe.
And I don't hate it. I'm still playing it.
Poor Bryan,
it's
you're so
just-
uncomfortable.
It's missing a lot.
My legs are just hitting this table.
I wanted to cover.
it.
I made a list. They're not listening. I'm talking to my.
Go.
I'm talking to my own.
I was trying to help tall, handsome
Mother.
Bryan.
Hello,
Mom.
Hello, Mom. I made a list of why MMOs are good and why MMOs suck.
Do it.
And
Go.
before I get into this list, I want to say what really inspired me on this topic was listening to me and Travis's intro podcast and hearing what pulls him into games.
Yeah, that's something that I really liked as well.
Yeah, for the longest time, and Travis can certainly attest to this, I wanted to get him to play WoW, and I was to the point of I'll buy an account for you.
That did happen.
Just fucking play. Just give it a chance.
Just be
no.
my friend on the internet.
Right.
Oh.
But after listening to that intro, it finally struck me that WoW it would be poison for his life. And not a fun poison. He would just play it and
porn.
hate it the whole... Yeah, it wouldn't be
Yeah, wouldn't be my game porn.
No. He would just play it for 10 minutes and go, I'm miserable, this is pointless, why did you make me do this? So it would have been a completely
And
wasted
you'll be
effort.
standing behind him, as he's sitting in his chair, and you just put your hands on his shoulders and be like,
Come, Jedi.
See, this is why I wanted you to play. I want your Emperor imitation. That's what WoW is desperately lacking, is an Emperor Palpatine.
do not put points in that talent tree.
Yes.
You don't need dexterity.
I just want you to do that for the rest of the podcast, seriously. Fuck the topic, let's just do Emperor Palpatine impersonations. So, I guess I'll start off with why MMOs are good. And this also feeds into the Mass Effect 2 discussion that we had a long time ago about how I hate that you see places you can't go.
Well, that bothered me immensely as well.
That's a huge strength of MMOs, is it's everyone that yammers on about how great Skyrim is, MMOs do exactly that. If you can see it, you can go there, generally speaking.
Hooray.
It's certainly true in WoW. You see a mountain in the distance, go fly to that mountain and
That's
see what's
cool.
over
I
there.
can dig
It
that.
really is cool. I love a big world. I love to be in a huge giant city that is like a city.
You
rather
know what
than
I
like
would
a
do? If you gave me a flying mount, I'll fly around and hit stuff.
No,
I would
no.
I would do that.
No,
You have to invest in the game.
you don't
No!
You don't know what you're asking for.
No.
That's really expensive.
You really don't know what you're asking for.
I don't. I
You
really
probably buy a mount for a lot of money.
You have to hit level 60 first.
Fuck,
and
I
that
just-
is a lot of work.
Just buy an account. See, this is okay.
I'm done trying to sell WoW on you. That's the whole point of
Well,
this.
and
That's
this
why
is
we're
why
talking
some people
right
just
now.
don't
But now I want to play.
No, you don't.
I want to fly
You're
to.
lying for our listener. Mother, don't believe this.
No,
Why don't we just give
but
them
what I
that?
do like about Skyrim is that pretty much I can go climb on top of whatever I see to a certain degree. I would like to fly around WoW.
I'm talking about
Just
the good
for-
things.
okay.
Let me get to the bad things, and then we'll see if you actually want to play it. So the next thing I have on my list that's good is teamwork on a greater level. This is like the pinnacle of co-op games. Now, in Left 4 Dead 2, and we've played the fucking shit out of that game, it's 4 people against the computer.
Yeah.
And it's epic, and I could play it today.
By
I
the
love
tooth
that
and
game.
nail.
It's affected the way that I see other games and how I behave in them. That's how much Left 4 Dead 2 has hit me.
Thank you, Valve.
In WoW, you can do raids with 25 people. So that is like beyond 4. You know, and the strategies...
And there's someone organizing this and telling you what to do.
Oh, yes. Imagine trying to get all of your friends that you've ever met to work together on this one fairly complicated task. It's quite an undertaking, and it's quite difficult, but the rewards for doing so are very large, emotionally speaking, for me personally. Like, there's really nothing better than downing a raid boss that is complicated as fuck with 24 other people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, wow, we did this together. This is something you absolutely could not do with just you and another person. And there's something to be said for that cooperative thing.
But I would also like to interject that, you know, there's other games that do that. There's just not MMOs.
It's so much smaller, though.
Well, no, but like at first-person shooter games, you can have a shitload of people playing against a shitload of people, and it can be everything that you said it was. It can be complicated. It can be, you know, there's team play involved. And I'm not saying it's the same. I'm not saying that like MMOs should be compared to first-person shooters. I'm just saying there's alternatives to what you're saying.
I'll disagree with you there because, and I've played a lot of shooters. Shooters is one of my things. You're right in that it's a collaborative effort when you get a bunch of people to actually work together. More often it's just a bunch of strangers running around shooting and doing their own thing. But sometimes you can get them together to work as a team. But there really is nothing that compares to, like, one of the boss fights from, like, fighting Illidan, for example, from Burning Crusade. That's an old one now. But it was just such a complicated fight. Or the prince in Tempest Keep, whose name I can't remember. It's a 5-phase fight. It's incredibly complicated, and everyone has to do a very specific thing right, or the whole thing fucks up. It's really, really dense as far as fights go, or at least it can be.
I can see that, but I can also, say that playing against people is a complicated thing as well.
It is, but it's a different energy.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think it's never, like, a first-person shooter is never going to be able to do something that WoW can do when it comes to raids. But I believe, when you say, okay, 24-person raids. I played a lot of Team Fortress 2. You can have, that amount of people on a server easily.
You can.
And if you have a good team, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's similar to that experience, except there's a different energy because you are not competing against other people. It's 100% a teamwork feeling. That's why I call it the co-op pinnacle. Yeah. Because for me, my most rewarding games are us against computer.
Okay.
I don't like playing against other players. I just don't. I don't know what it is, but it's always made me fucking uncomfortable. I remember as a kid playing laser tag against Dalder. I couldn't fucking take it. Like, it was just like I literally got frustrated and upset
Dalder.
that I had to hunt my own friend.
Fucking Dalder.
Well, maybe you guys would have an easier time fighting him then. But I just...
I'll fucking own Dalder.
It just felt like so counter to
face.
what I wanted to do. So that's why...
I think it's just an apples and oranges situation.
Absolutely.
Oh, totally.
Absolutely. I'm just saying these are the applest of apples that you can get. Whereas,
the apple.
Team Fortress, you could argue, is orange as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
We can certainly go there. Then the other thing I have on my list is... Okay. WoW is rewarding in the way that accomplishing a task at work is rewarding. There's a persistent, measurable advancement system of, like, every day you log in, you can set yourself easily attainable goals. Not easy in terms of, I'll do it real quick, but easy in terms of, within an hour, I can easily accomplish these tasks if I set my mind to it. And what the feeling you get from it is that every day you log off, you feel like you got something done, and you always have something in your mind of what's next on the horizon. So it's like a Type A enabling game, where you're sitting there, like, you feel like you log off from WoW and you're like, man, I got some shit done.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't really get that from other games.
Not so much.
Because they're not so worky. That it's sort of joy in.
I've gotten that
working
feeling
thing.
in Skyrim before. I'm not going to say it would ever be quite the same.
This is
I've
like the
gotten that
next
feeling.
level of that. So
I would
you'll know
imagine
what I'm talking about.
because like
then.
you can do so much in Skyrim sometimes
Yeah.
on the side, and all of a sudden I log off and I'm like, you can feel that list
Yeah.
that got done, sort of.
And there's something really gratifying about making that list shorter every day.
Yeah.
Of like, there's in WoW, there's reputations you can grind to Exalted. There's new gear you can get, new transmog stuff just to make your gear look cool. There's achievements is a huge fucking thing that just pulls you in. You always feel like you did not waste your time as long as you're the kind of person who can appreciate the game. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a person who thinks this is all fucking stupid, then you're not going to get anything from
Yeah, I mean,
it.
if you're not going to have fun with it, then just not
Then you're
going to
get nothing. But if you're a player who can get something from that feeling, then you'll get a lot from World of Warcraft. The other thing I have here is familiarity. When you play a game for 8 years, which almost never happens with games because they just cycle out, but with
Yeah.
MMOs it does happen, everything becomes so familiar. Like, you start just to build this knowledge library of, like, this shit is here, these dungeons are here. Like, if anyone has a question about this, I know exactly how to answer it. And there's some kind of weird gratification you get out of sort of mastering this world.
I get nothing out of
holding
that.
this knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, I do.
Yeah. That's wow.
There's something about being able to tell someone exactly what they're wondering about or picking up on.
Hey, you could also
You're like the
Yeah.
professor of WoW.
Kind of.
there's
And we're going to have a class.
Kind of. But everyone can be a professor of WoW. It's not exclusive. It's an inclusive thing. I like that. Now let's get to why MMOs fucking suck a dick. And this is where, Travis, you will surrender the flying mount, I fucking guarantee you. The first thing I have on my list is crafting. Simply put, fuck crafting.
that sounds great.
Crafting is like if WoW itself is a job. I'm just going to use WoW as an example because I play it the most.
Okay.
If WoW itself is a job, then crafting is a second job within your second job that is not fun and not rewarding in any fucking way.
I mean, doesn't that have to be rewarding in some way?
No, it's not.
Well, then
you
what
just
is
resent it
crafting?
for existing.
Well, so why do people do it?
Yeah. What is?
I don't know.
I
What
mean,
is
'cause
crafting?
I
Why is it a
imagine that if
problem?
you're
Well, here, let me
crafting,
explain-
But here's the thing. Like, I understand that WoW is a very gear-oriented game.
Right.
So if I just figured if you want to be a crafter, it's like, oh, because I'm going to make some really epic shit.
Well, hang on. Let
That
me
things that you'll
explain.
never find anywhere
Let me
else.
explain crafting so Travis can be a part of this first, because he has no idea what it is. So crafting is basically you can take on a job or two jobs to make gear. And you can make different kinds of gear. In WoW, you can have leatherworking, which makes leather gear.
Yeah.
Blacksmithing, where you can make weapons and plate armor.
Yeah.
Tailoring, so you understand.
Yeah.
You make gear for the different classes.
Okay.
As far as crafting goes in WoW, the only purpose in doing it is to make money. Because if you're not an enchanter, chances are the stuff that you make, you can get better stuff out of raids for a lot less work. Just across the board.
So-
like, yes, you can make some epic shit, but it's not as epic as something you could get in looking for raid in an hour.
So maybe people do it for the economy, like they want to.
It's
make
just to
money
make
out of
money.
it. Yeah,
It's
okay.
just to make money so that you can buy other things.
You're like one step above a gold farmer, basically.
Yes, you're gold farming. You're basically doing gold farming work for free.
Well, you're selling the things that you're making
To benefit
right?
yourself. Well, yes,
I
but,
mean, can you do that? You can sell the things you make.
but what is the value of having a ton of gold? And a lot of people in WoW burn themselves out on crafting, where it's like, I spent 2 hours making leg scale armor, and now I fucking hate WoW. Well, congratulations. Crafting just ruined a game for you. So, fuck
Yeah.
crafting.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I figured, having gold. I don't know how the game really works, but I figured that you have to have gold for some things, and being
You
rich.
have to have gold
being
for
rich,
repair.
Okay. Oh, is that it?
Well, no. I mean, you can get luxuries with gold. Like, you can get new mounts sometimes. But generally
You
speaking,
can repair.
gold is something... Yeah, you need to repair your
That sounds
gear
like
'cause
another
it breaks
MMO I
down.
know. Diablo. Where gold is really
Thank you.
necessary for me to repair my great armor.
No,
Because I go on raids to fight Baal.
in the MMO called Diablo 2, gold is almost worthless.
Veil raids.
I go on bail raids.
Thank you.
With about 8 other people.
Thank you.
It has a lot of really excellent
Next
teamwork.
on my list.
Excellent teamwork.
It does.
I fucking hate
I told the
these guys.
barbarian to do a thing, and he did it, and we won because of that. I know.
Okay, so aside from your generous experience in the MMO known as Diablo 2, one of the big things, and this will...
Just trying to educate you.
Thank you. This will kill you, is there's no individuality in MMOs whatsoever.
You mean?
Is there individuality in any game?
There's not a whole lot of individuality in Diablo.
There are.
What, can you name a game?
Well, yeah, I can name every game sitting on that shelf that you're looking over there. You're an individual character with traits. You're not a character named Bumfuck8.
Okay, so instead
is
of
the hero of
So
Azeroth.
you're saying that because you're, by virtue of the fact that you're playing against a whole bunch of people,
Well, no,
you're not a special snowflake anymore.
Let me quote The Incredibles, where I think the bad guy says the line, "If everyone is special, no one is special."
Okay, but instead of just saying that,
Well, let me explain. That's the metaphor.
it doesn't have to be that way.
Everyone can be exactly the same thing in terms of level of heroicness, and everyone in the game is spoken to by the NPCs the exact same way as you're the special one. You're the one who's going to fix everything. But when you're in a raid with 25 people who are the special one, and in a lot of raids to get quests done, like you get quests that feed into raids where the quest text is, "Please, hero, only you can help me." And there's 24 other people who have told the same fucking shit.
Yeah.
And some of them are named Buttfuck.
Yeah.
You know? There's something very not heroic about a guy who misspelled Death Dealer. And he's fucking next to you, and he's just as hero as you are.
The Deaf Dollar.
Is it like
Yeah,
D-
exactly.
D-
It's DETH, Death Dealer.
Yeah.
Or Deaf Dealer.
Deaf dealing.
Deaf Dealer, thank you.
Dealing in hearing aids.
Or, like, you know, even funny names like Oprah Winfrey. I mentioned
That's my
that yesterday.
favorite. You know, he
That's
sounds
great.
like a fucking hero.
It's a fucking hilarious
Oprah
name,
Winfrey.
but it kind of takes the seriousness out
God
of
bless
it.
that man.
Thank
Takes
you,
the
Oprah.
seriousness out of WoW.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Thank you.
You should be fucking Oprah Winfrey in that game.
Oprah Winfrey.
That's fucking... you
Here's,
can be a panda.
not yet, but soon.
Whatever. Okay.
Yes,
Panda with tits.
the new expansion coming out, Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, the fucking furry panda tits. I don't
Yeah.
even want to get into that.
We
I
won't.
think the death of WoW is maybe on the horizon in its own making.
Yeah, no,
It's not the game. It's not other games are doing it. It's just Blizzard.
we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I've heard some podcasts of people playing the game. They're just like, yeah, it's WoW, but you know, there's pandas.
But with pandas
yeah.
that do Kung Fu.
I mean,
Instead of a goblin.
They,
I don't
they
know.
like the new class, and they like the.
I don't know how they can confront the criticism of you turned World of Warcraft into Kung Fu Pandas when the game has pandas that do Kung Fu in it.
Yeah.
Like, how are you possibly going to deflect people saying this is just Kung Fu Panda when the new class is Panda Monk?
Of course they do,
Well, I
guys.
heard
They're
one-
fucking Asian. They
I
know
mean-
karate. What
Yeah.
else are they gonna? They're not gonna shoot guns. These pandas all know how to. You know, they're Shaolin monks.
Fucking pandas.
Duh.
So what else do you hate about MMOs?
Well, this is the one that's going to stab Travis right in the heart, which is none of the moments that ever happen are special. You know how you were talking in Psychonauts about how when you were walking around in the psychic camp, you felt like you were really fucking there.
Yeah.
Or when you were in Black Velvetopia, you were really fucking there.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had to do the Black Velvetopia level 80 times a day to get a fucking dagger or a pair of shoes.
Yeah, I'd be unhappy.
It would just kill all the specialness that you got from that one. You had that experience one time, and it felt very personal because it was you alone in that experience.
Yeah, it was a
Now
discovery.
imagine you do that experience with 4 other people, and it's the 80th time you've done it today.
Okay, but wouldn't WoW have moments where, since the map is so huge and the terrain changes, when you have moments where you're exploring, you'd come across something and you just would be kind of struck with the, you know,
Unfortunately,
environment of the
not so
game.
much because the game is so.
You never had like a special moment in WoW where like you dove underwater or something. You're just like, holy shit, where am I? Or...
No, not really, because basically how they make it work is if you're not in an instance, which is like a separate tiny dungeon world that is completely cut off from the rest of the universe, nothing really special happens. You have a mountain ranges and lush forests and underwater aquatic areas, but it's just drop an enemy at predetermined locations and they walk around forever.
Yeah.
You never actually see anything happen. in
You don't
front
have
of
any
you.
like good co-op moments other than the raiding. Like you're just like,
Never.
man, that was really cool that we all fished in a fish competition. Or
Never.
Or like even in Skyrim, I've come across things where I'm like, whoa, you know,
No,
yeah,
that never fucking happens in WoW. And the moments that do happen are obviously manufactured, and once you've seen it once, get ready to see it a whole lot more.
yeah.
So this would be...
Yeah, I don't want to fly around anymore.
This would be fucking love cancer for you.
Yeah.
Where it's just like everything pretty you see is not special.
Fucking least favorite
There's
love.
no special... You know what it is? Here is what I wrote down this note to remind me. To go back to Silent Hill 2. Everything that you see is neat. It's never engrossing. Like in Silent Hill 2, you feel like you are fucking there.
Yeah.
And everything fucking means something. In every dilapidated apartment building...
Yeah, you can feel like the dirt under your fingernails in Silent Hill.
Absolutely. In World of Warcraft, there's no dirt to be had under your fingernails.
Yeah.
You know, the pretty areas always look pretty, the ugly areas always look ugly, which I guess is true of Silent Hill 2 also. But there's no personality or attachment to those areas. It's just, I'm level 65, now I'm going to go to Nagrand and do these quests. It's never... You naturally find your way there and are struck by the beauty of a place. That's something that's never happened.
I think it
to me.
also has to do with the fact that it's a fantasy game like any other fantasy.
Yeah, but
game.
they want
But
to take
Skyrim is a fantasy game
and
too.
it's not this because what these MMOs do and what the new Knights of the Republic tried to do, which WoW did, is they wanted to intellectually and artistically babysit you while you play this thing. They're not there to challenge you or bring you further, you know, in some emotional level or intellectual level.
It's handhold land.
It's very and
it's for everyone.
And that's cool for gameplay because WoW learned how to gameplay well for you, right? But you know, I was expecting a little more, you know, that for KOTOR.
Absolutely, he pointed to engrossing, listening audience.
You can't say engrossing; you can only point at it.
Well, he points.
Hey, we're keeping this conversational, and
Yes.
I pointed. That's something I would have done.
I appreciate
if
that.
it was just us.
But like, you know, like imagine if you played Silent
Also,
Hill
my
2.
dick is out.
Here's another. Thank you. There's another thing. You can see people slightly ahead of you in the quest chain doing the quests you're gonna do.
Oh,
Imagine if in Silent Hill 2 you saw a James just ahead of you that already had the fucking skull key.
Yeah, he just turned a lock.
Yeah.
With a book or something.
He's opening the fridge that you can't open yet.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, fuck you.
Yeah, he's already giving someone
It just
chocolate milk.
kills. There's no immersion in World of Warcraft ever, and that's its biggest weakness as a game. Is it's more of a money grab than a game.
We should have Felicia waddle over here and start
She's
talking
too busy
about it.
playing World of Warcraft. No, don't worry
I don't
about
know.
it.
I just figured she must know so much about this.
The last bullet point I have on this list, and here's another thing that will drive you nuts, is if you do not make an MMO a second job, you will not advance, period.
Yeah.
It's a ton of work or no reward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean in terms of like an ultimate reward. If you try to play casually, I mentioned before there's easily achievable advancement, but the longer you get into the game, and this is sort of what makes it a drug, the more you feel like that's not good enough. Like, okay, I did 5 daily quests today, but I could do this. I could get this achievement, and I could do this. And you quickly find that if you're not willing to surrender like 4 hours a day minimum, then you feel like you're not doing enough or you're not accomplishing enough, and you just feel dissatisfied. And that's not a feeling I want to have when I'm playing a game. We've talked about this before. When I'm playing a game and when you're playing a game, we want to be loving every fucking moment of it. We want to forget that we live in a shitty real world, right?
Yeah.
You know, and this was sort of the ultimate punch that I guess I had for MMOs. We've run well past an hour now, so...
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool if maybe Bryan could do something a little bit like this, like a little bit pros and cons for Guild Wars, because I know a lot of motherfuckers are going to be doing Guild Wars.
That game is on the huge hype train.
Yeah, tell us about the beta.
Because we've really fleshed out WoW in a nice way, and Guild Wars is going to be, I think, a heavy hitter for like a little while.
It's going to be a heavy hitter. I don't know if it's going to live up to everything that they're trying to do.
Well, they never do.
They never do. And then I played the beta. I'm coming from a person who likes deep combat, and they are delivering on that. So I'm happy with that. I like the fact that it's much more fluid than a usual MMO combat is. For instance, if you're a caster, you move while you cast spells, which is kind of cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's almost like a first-person shooter
in
that respect. There's like dodge mechanics, so if you dodge something, then you evade an attack. But it does a lot of things that I think are going to either... I don't know. I think people are set in their ways, and when it comes to MMOs, and there's going to be some things that maybe they won't like about the game.
Right.
As an example, they are trying to get rid of the Trinity. So no DPS, Well,
the Trinity being tank, healer, DPS.
Tank, healer, DPS.
is damage per second, for
Yeah.
those who don't know.
So I guess that's not entirely true because, that kind of mechanic, that kind of play is always going to be there. It's just that one class isn't just that thing.
Right.
So you can kind of say that the classes are all hybrids in a way.
Yeah,
That
I
everyone
noticed
can do
that
something.
when watching the
Like the
footage
warrior,
of the
for
class.
instance, he can hold a bow. He can hold a rifle. He can do ranged attacks.
Yeah.
So I guess there's the fear that maybe these classes are not going to be like as fleshed out as people are used to. That
Right.
I'm the warrior. I'm supposed to be big and hardy. The warrior is big and hardy. Like compared to other classes, there's differences, but I think the differences have become more blurred.
That's cool though, because if
Yeah.
someone wants to come in and have some flavor, maybe be a challenge,
Yeah.
they can be rest assured that like they're going to be playing a blending of things. Like it won't nothing will be exactly kind of what it seems, which is
And well, I mean, the reason the reason that ANET did this, and this is their argument, they put up a lot of blog posts explaining why they do these things because it's it's a lot of changes.
Right.
They didn't like the fact that people were looking for certain classes to do certain content in the game. They just
Right.
want people to play the game.
yeah. They turn in their punch card and said, "I'm here to be a tank."
Like here, I'm here. Yeah, no, exactly.
That's a major thing in WoW, too.
Yeah.
Well,
Where
that was a major thing in Guild Wars as well. It was the same thing. This is like a LFG, which stands for
looking for group.
Yeah, looking for healer, looking for whatever. So that's something that I am actually pretty excited about because I just think I just didn't like waiting for people to be in my group to play the game. I just wanted
Sure.
to play the game. So there's a lot of other things. I don't know how long you want me to talk about it because I could talk about it for hours.
We should probably wrap this up. We've been doing a lot of talking
Yeah.
today.
But I'll just end it with it's going to change how MMOs are seen. That's my opinion. Because Guild Wars, whether you hate it or love it, did very well.
Right.
A lot of people bought it. It was pretty, not as good as WoW, but behind WoW.
Yeah.
I want to say they were the second best.
Yeah, it
Games
probably did its
need
best
to-
considering its differences.
They need to stop measuring themselves by WoW's league.
Well, I'm just saying from an
It's the
industry
only other-
standpoint,
yeah.
like if you're gonna say like, oh, Guild Wars has no presence, Guild Wars has a lot of presence.
Right.
And they bring a lot of different things to the table, and not just the classes. What I was talking about, they're taking some things from Rift. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rift, but it's an MMO that had things happen in the world, whether you were there or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just something that they really are trying to push with this game, which they call them dynamic events. So if you're just running around the map, you might see something happening, and you can choose to join it or not.
Right.
And if you join it, you get the experience and gold. If you don't, you just keep going. And if that event fails, quote, fails, then another event happens. So
Right.
it's like if the centaurs hit the town and you're not defending the town starts burning. And now the centaurs are taking over that town, and now you can't use the merchants in that town.
But is there any permanence to that, or is it just a temporary
It's cyclic.
thing?
It's like a pendulum. So like eventually it's going to hit a point where it's like, okay, you either need to defeat these people or they're just going to stay there. And if you
Okay,
defeat
so
them,
but then it's like Hala and fucking WoW. It's just where there's a town that who controls it changes. The Alliance can hold it, or the Horde can hold
well,
it.
there's
based
no
on
alliances in this game. It's
Who
just
killed? Well,
yeah.
it's the same idea of
Yeah.
like the town that you temporarily can't
Mhm.
use until you win it back over.
Well, I'm not really sure how important that really is. I think what they're just trying to go for is something making the world feel more alive, which I agree with for the most part.
It'll
when I was
make it
running
feel
through
more alive for the first week, but it'll just become
Yeah, well,
another
and we'll
system.
see. We'll
like
see
any system.
the test of time whether that's going to live up to something. Eventually, you might be seeing all the events in the game, and who knows? Maybe they'll throw in new events so that to keep the world fresh. I mean, I don't know how they plan
We'll
to
see,
do things.
and I think that's the primary problem with MMOs
Yeah.
as a quote unquote art form.
Yeah.
That we like to talk about video games as art. Is that MMOs are very blatantly designed to make money. I mean,
Yeah.
all games are designed to make money. We all know this, but MMOs show their bones right away. They
Yeah.
go, look, this is the structure of money that is going to happen if you want to be a part of this.
Well, I mean, importantly, Guild Wars is not subbed. There's no subscription.
okay,
So you have to keep that in mind
okay,
when you talk about the bones of MMOs because, when you buy the game, the ANET doesn't have I mean, they have a reason to keep you playing the game because they don't want people to feel like there's no one there.
right.
But I feel, well, anyways, I don't know. You continue with your point.
Well, my whole point was at the end of the day, if you look back on what you've done in an MMO, if it all went away, you don't feel like you got anything. Whereas, like, if I play Silent Hill 2, it has an effect on me forever, right? I remember this story forever. It has a profound effect artistically, emotionally. What I saw affects my high option of art. If they shut down the WoW servers tomorrow, I would just feel a profound sense of loss in terms of all the time that I put in that are just gone forever.
Yeah.
But I never had an emotional moment with WoW.
Yeah.
I
You
never
won't be
had,
breaking up. You know, it won't
exactly. It won't be like, well, at least WoW gave me this. WoW doesn't really give me anything except something to do.
be yeah.
You know? So, for my money, all MMOs have this equal weakness. Even if they have, you know, gimmicks like, you know, a world event happening.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I can point to some lesser games on the shelf that I have sitting over there. Like Fear fucking gave me more than WoW
Slay.
will give me in its entire life cycle.
Yeah.
As dumb as that fucking game is.
Yeah.
And that is my biggest problem with MMOs, and I don't think by design that problem will ever be solved.
Yeah.
Tor certainly has made an interesting effort by making story a thing that is prioritized.
Try to make it a big thing.
But I don't know how successful that is.
I mean, I know when it's going to get fixed.
Right.
It's going to be when they finally do a Pokemon MMO. I'll be there.
Well, they already did one. You know, Red and Blue. And then Yellow.
Those were not
Right?
MMOs,
Leaf
because I'm
Green
the
and Fire
expert
Red.
on what an MMO is. No, when
Gold and Silver.
when Nintendo
Black and White.
pulls up their bootstraps and makes
One
a
and
Pokemon
two.
MMO, it's going to change the face of
Oh,
everyone's
they're gonna do
life
that?
forever. Yes, and it will be an emotional attachment in game and out of game because it will totally attach to your Game Boy's Wi-Fi.
I think
and
Pokemon as a thing is gone.
it's so terrible
Don't-
because you know what I mean. Like it could have been like
It's just not
about
gonna-
5 really really fucking rad things.
Leave it to the Japanese to have something cool.
Oh, I know. Yeah. They smell risk in changing it. Man, it's phenomenal how much they don't change in Pokemon. Like it's amazing. Like,
It's amazing how much they don't. Well, this is now our third podcast, Japan and what they do wrong in gaming.
that's you know what that will be who we bring the Sega guy for. We need to talk about.
We're just gonna be two-manning him, beating the shit out of him over Japan's
No, we're not gonna beat the
habits.
shit out of him. We're gonna be real about gaming like we always are. But he's gonna have a really
Jim,
great.
how bad does Japan games suck? Go.
But like, they do. I mean, we grew up on Japanese games, frankly. So
Yeah,
I think there really needs to be a discussion.
that's a discussion for another time. We should certainly.
Well, obviously not this. All I'm saying is a future topic would be a really great one if we talked about. I mean, they're two different planets of gaming, and they're both
I
important.
have
they're
plenty
both really
of vitriol
important.
for Japan and how stuck in its ways they are as a
Yeah.
country when it
And
comes to games.
And
certainly.
as somebody who's visited and really like been knee
I
deep in the
can't
culture,
wait to be in that conversation
Yeah,
with you, 'cause
I
you'll
have-
bring a whole lot more than me.
I have yeah.
But I mean, just to get back to WoW, you were saying that.
No, we've talked enough about WoW. We're wrapping it up now. This has been Downloadable Conflict. Enjoy, America.
What did you want to say?
I just wanted to I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys. You think MMOs are art
No, I don't.
at all?
No, I really
Of
don't.
course I do.
But it's a product that's.
I think it's a waste of time.
Art makes you feel something. And here's the thing.
That's your fault. You don't feel anything.
Yes,
But
okay.
you felt things
So,
when you were playing WoW.
well, I felt things like...
Accomplishment that was their
Then work
explicit
then
goal,
work is art.
artistic goal.
Then cleaning my bathtub is art.
Yeah, a lot of people believe their work is art
Well,
because
let
they
me-
care about it. They get
Let me
emotional.
qualify this. I'm not the arbiter of what art is.
I know.
If someone thinks it's art, then it's art. That being said, in my personal opinion, I've never felt that any MMO that I've played has qualified as art because it didn't make me feel something,
What
and
if
that
it-
is my definition of
What
what
if you
art
say
is.
it's like
Thank
it
you.
has a bunch of art things in it because
Yeah, because I believe it's art because of the sum of its
Define
part.
what an art thing is.
like a painting's an art is art.
Yeah, because it makes you feel
And there's
something.
there's a programmer who came up with this character model that you see in the game.
Yeah.
And
It's
acts and behaves this
Right.
way, and that could be art too.
I don't look down on anyone who
Yeah.
thinks it is art. Just personally, it didn't make me feel anything.
Yeah.
WoW has never made me feel anything as a game. Now, WoW has enabled things to happen in real life. Like, this is a topic that I didn't know if I wanted to get into, but a while ago in one of my old guilds, a very prominent member committed suicide. That certainly made me feel something. And that is
Yeah.
certainly WoW related, but I don't think
Yeah, that's
the guy who drew the goblin fucking concept art was
no,
thinking of
because
that when
you
he
guys
penned it.
communicate through headphones and
Right.
in game chat. So
Right.
that's not.
And I certainly had a lot of very serious interpersonal experiences for my first 5 years of WoW.
Yeah.
They were very dense, like calling people in real life, talking to them every day, keeping updated on our lives.
That's not what makes that game art.
Guess in a way you could say that that's art, but I felt like those people, like WoW was just the crux that brought those people to the table for me. And
for me, from my art background, trying to make movies or just trying to make projects and seeing what Andrew's done, I believe that something can be art because of the sum of its parts. It had so much TLC professionally from all of the individuals who worked to make it, what they believe to be a beautiful, engrossing, or visually acceptable experience. So because of that, it's an artistic package. If if the format or the structure of the gaming doesn't do enough for you emotionally, that would be on the fault of the production.
If I made the game, I would feel it was art. But as a player, I've never played an MMO.
Let's leave it at that. We pretty much...
That I set up, like we said this with, I hate to keep saying Silent Hill 2 or fucking Psychonauts, but really... Those are arty games where you have moments where you say, this is fucking art.
Well, those are because they're more enjoyable in the painting sense. It's sort of like, a painting is art because it was painted, right? But the way I'm breaking it down is this. Was his paints art? Was his brush art? No. But in the sense of WoW, you could think of the paints, the brush, the products, the canvas as the human beings. The sum of WoW's parts were people, making this and this and that. Painting is different because you used sort of these things to make your art.
They're just pieces though, and like in the same way that like some people will see.
They're not just pieces; they have to be pieces
let me
to make up a.
Let me qualify that. In the same way that some people will see a car as art and other people will not. It really just comes down to your own place in what it does for you. And as a player of WoW, I just don't think it's art.
Okay.
But I don't begrudge anyone who thinks differently, and
you better not, because I'm right. Because I think I'm right.
Okay, that's important.
Okay, all right.
Should we blather for another 10 fucking minutes?
We're done. We're done.
We can make it straight 1:30 though.
Yeah. We're an ass hair close to 1 minute and 20 seconds. So we could.
1 hour.
Sorry, 1 hour 20 minutes. So we can sing for the next.
Please.
30 seconds.
Please no.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna do that.
No, please. Just we don't have a proper ending for this. Just hit the stop button.
Good.
You're welcome, America. Oh yeah. Killer. Fucking end it on an Emperor Palpatine impression. And go.
You are doomed.
Yeah, 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 yeah.